Most of us are led to believe that our mind, our intellect, is a powerful tool, our ally, and our friend. A refined intellect can serve a person well in life when it is sharp and trained. But in the esoteric path, students are taught that the mind is not always our ally. The mind is the great slayer of the real. The real is spiritual reality beyond the five senses that the mind thrives upon, that the third dimension is comprised of. The mind is the slayer of the real. If you're going to sit there and try to communicate to me, tell me that what you take of it, what you interpret as reality, meaning the monkey chatter of your mind, the constant rambling of thoughts that aren't even yours to begin with, discursive thought is what really the majority of people's minds are comprised of. A type of thinking that passes aimlessly from one subject to another, digressive rambling, proceeding by reasoning or argument rather than intuition. Your mind, your thoughts that you take to be reality, which really is an illusion, is the most elusive illusion there is, especially when it is amplified, exploited, manipulated by the digital reality. So, it's a deep subject in thinking. Most of us only suffer from our imagination, what we think of as reality, from the illusions of our perceptions of linear time. Time is a lie. The Gregorian calendar is a lie. We tend to be so much in the world that our mind creates with help from the digital matrix that it blinds us from what's actually real. The mind, discursive thought, the mind is the slayer of the real. It is certainly a barrier to the higher dimensions, at least first, second, and third layers of thought. But it is so hard to break free from the third layer of thought, the third dimension, into the higher dimensions, because we are constantly thinking about the past or the future, which does not actually exist at all. It is an illusion. We constantly think with our monkey mind, monkey chatter, this discursive, rambling thought, jumping from one subject to another, and imagine the future and what may or may not happen. Even though thoughts arise to describe this moment, those thoughts are not reality. Thinking about the past, it's a distorted memory. And as we access those memories of the past, with time and with greater numbers of accessing, of downloading those memories from the past, they become distorted more and more. But it's not even a real assessment of what happened in your past, because the mind is imagining and thinking about what is real. If you want to experience being your true self, you must accept that simply because no concept, no words, or no thought can get you closer to the truth of what you are, or closer to what's real. What you are is here and now, in this moment. What you are is here and now, in this perfectly present moment, devoid of any thoughts about the past or the future. It is tuning into your body and the perceptions of your intuition. I mean, you don't need to think about being here right now because you're already here. You can never not be here. And you aren't here as the body and mind. That's the mind that believes that the mind and body, you are here as consciousness, as awareness, and even labeling what you are isn't the truth. These words are simply to point you to the experience of being all you have. To do is notice it, stop trying to create something or see something or feel a certain way. It takes no effort to be because you already are. It is your natural state. You can't try to be natural. You are, or you are not, or you're lost in your thoughts, discursive mind. It is a state of being. But nothing the mind creates is actually real. I mean, can you touch the concept of you in the past? If you can realize what I'm saying right now, this will tremendously help you. No need to think about what I'm about to say or understand it. From a mental standpoint, just listen and realize for yourself that it is true, that the deeper part of yourself will grasp this for you, for who you are. So the past isn't real. Where exactly is the past if it is real? You can't say, well, it's in the past. But where is it? Where does the past appear to exist? It can only appear to exist in the mind. Now listen, I'm not saying things didn't happen. They just didn't happen in the past. For example, if you showed me a picture of you as a child, you would probably say, this is a picture. This picture is proof of the past. This picture was taken in the past. That's not true. Cameras, pictures, videos, these are tools used to capture the moment, to capture the present moment. This picture was not taken in the past. It was taken in the present moment. You can't do anything in the past. You can only do things now. And then you'll say, well, I remember 5 years ago when I went through the most traumatic experience of my life. And you're telling me my past doesn't exist? Yes, that's what I'm telling you. Like I said, I never said things didn't happen. They just didn't happen in the past. To remember something, you must have a memory of it, correct? And what is a memory? A memory is an imagination you have to imagine. A memory doesn't matter if it happened or not. It is still a creation of the mind. It isn't real. What's real is right now. I want you all to remember something right now. Anything at all. It could be what you ate yesterday, literally anything, and notice how the mind is creating this. What the mind creates isn't what's real now. Look around. Is that memory here? What is it? What's left without the mind's imaginations and thoughts? It's something you can't describe. It's the unexplainable that I've been trying to point you to all along here with this mission from the Umbanda New Earth Ashram. You can't actually label it. You can only experience it now. This is also applies to the future. The future doesn't exist. All of those stories and fake scenarios your mind creates, that's not real. That's not what's real. We talk about the future, daydream about it, but nobody has ever experienced the future. Have you heard the saying, tomorrow and never comes, tomorrow never comes? Because it doesn't. You have never experienced tomorrow. It has always been now, in this moment. It's always been what's here now, and it can never not be. Realize now that there are two different realities you can choose to live in. You can choose to live in hell, which is through the mind's reality, where suffering appears to exist, where delusion, fear, anxiety, worry appear to exist, where the false self appears to exist, where the belief that you are a person appears to exist, where the belief of being the body and mind exists, where the belief that you have a life appears to exist. Or you can choose to live in heaven, where you know that what you are is everything. Todos los entes, todos los mundos, everything, where you experience being one with everything, knowing you are that which is everyone, and everything where consciousness is all that exists. The mind is all. Consciousness is all. We are thoughts, fragments of thoughts from source, from the mind of God. Consciousness is all that exists, where things no longer appear to be happening to you, but you now see the truth. And notice that these things are happening within you, because nothing can actually happen to what you truly are, where the external world has no control over your experience anymore, where peace, joy, and unconditional love exist, where this moment is the only moment, and the mind's illusions have no impact on your energy. where you can notice and comfortable sensations in the body, and you can allow them to pass through because you know you aren't anything that has form. Where consciousness realizes it's consciousness. What you are is formless. You are Shivaya. Look, I'm not going to sit here and act like it's a blissful experience every moment. You will still experience emotions, anger, sadness, etc., but the suffering and attachment to them are completely gone. Things are just happening, and they are happening to no one. If you want to truly step into your power, you have to begin realizing how foolish the mind really is. It's an amazing tool once you can transcend it, but it lies to you constantly. It distorts reality constantly with the illusion of the mind, with you thinking thoughts are your reality. You don't need to understand this, though. Just stop repeating the mind is lying. This isn't real. You don't have to do that. You're just adding more information to the mind that you're trying to transcend. Understanding this is great because it becomes an issue when the mind is constantly repeating knowledge, because we will sometimes identify with those thoughts. All you have to do is realize it, let the mind do what it's doing, and just notice what it's doing and realize that it isn't what's real. What's real is right now. What you have been seeking for is here now. It's not something you create or look for. It's something you will soon realize, and the mind cannot comprehend it or understand what's left when the mind is empty, is truth, is reality, is consciousness, is all. So even the intellect is a subsidiary aspect of the higher mind of consciousness and a partial expression or extension of the soul. The eventual function of the mind might be said to develop the ability to mirror the knower or your higher self and transmit and adapt the messages at the intellectual level. The mind becomes the creator of the illusion, though. This is what can go wrong, though. You have to be careful how the mind becomes the creator of illusion when the personal egotism gets in the way. Can you step outside of yourself? Can you objectively examine a situation? You become the center of your own mental universe, and you forget to align with your higher spiritual reality when you get lost in your ego, the illusion of the ego. When you do not remember the difference between the knower and the thoughts of the egotistical self. So to believe that anything can be controlled to remain seemingly perfect forever is always just a wishful illusion. The illusion blocks realization of the heart or soul aspect of higher consciousness. When the intellect usurps all the power, it also blocks love and spiritual intuition and becomes the slayer of the real. The mind is the slayer of the real. If you agree, hit the subscribe button, leave this video a thumbs up, and stay tuned for further video offerings and information disseminations from the Umbanda, New Earth Ashram for compassion, strength, and fifth dimensional focused living.
Namaste. Namaskaram.